Okay, here we are back with erotic wisdom. This is a plus or bonus episode. It's the add-on. It's where the hot conversation begins because it takes a while to warm up. And so I'm still sitting here with Zander eating chocolate in my session room in Cape Town. And we're gonna immediately dive back in exactly where we left it when Zander told. Okay. What Zander told me, sorry, we had a little technical glitch here. So you have to explain to us again about the art of pickup.
The art of pickup.
This is what you wanted to talk about, eh?
Yes, because the art of pickup has to do with deliberate seduction as a form of getting your sexual needs satisfied in a society where um, young males struggle to meet their sexual needs because of all kinds of toxic masculine connotations to men obviously desiring sex, and how that desire has almost been nailed by society as something that is unhealthy and dangerous, which obviously can be dangerous.
But it's also very healthy and natural.
Funny enough, it's very ironic. It's very ironic. So now,
And that's what also women really wants, to be desired by the man.
exactly. So kind of this art of pickup has become almost a practice of seducing, which is in
The
one
art of seduction has always been, it's interesting that now comes from the man. I love this.
yeah, because it's always been a feminine quality
yes.
of seduction, and how almost the whole art of pickup has to do with young guys sees attractive lady in bar and wants to obviously like sleep with her or something. And now through what almost society, or I would just say social media, or the general kind of strategy has been that the only way for you to get your sexual needs and desires to be met is you have to get good at the skill of
Picking
having,
up.
yeah, and getting, so
And then maintaining, because there's one thing is seducing a girl in a bar, but then if you want your sexual needs to be met ongoing, you have to maintain the seduction.
no, but that's the thing.
Or you
That's
just
why
drop that one and you go for the next
that
one.
is the whole thing. That's what the pickup community is all about. Is you become a pickup artist. And there are certain steps and almost a process that you follow, and a practice that revolves around it, and a mindset, and blah 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 blah. Similar practice, it could really be called a practice.
But when I hear you speaking, it's funny because for me, in my sexual experience, the first sexual encounter is never satisfying. It's never the encounter that really fulfills my sexual needs. At least the second or third time, it's already better. So I imagine that in this art of picking up, are their needs really fulfilled?
Fulfilled. That is what interests me, and why I think this conversation would be relevant to just sexuality as a whole, is that the whole pickup community revolves around you need to pick up more girls, you need to sleep with the more women you sleep with, you need to set goals for yourself apparently, and you need to like say, yeah, I need to go out and meet a set amount of people every time I go out, and this is how many people I must meet a week, and I must at least sleep with a certain amount of them, and that's how you measure your progress in this game. It's literally called as well game as well. So people will say your game is good.
And how do they deal with women that then fall in love and they want to see you again? How does that work?
So that's what's very interesting. A lot of people, the thing is as well is all of a sudden the whole kind of model for relationships and sexuality is kind of changed, because it's not now all of a sudden something you meet a girl, you fall in love with her, and you guys have a relationship together. It is, I have sexual desires, I see that girl is beautiful, I'm going to go get my sexual desires met, because there's no real other way apparently that is apparent to me to do that. And
so, but there is an agreement. Does this guy explain to this girl that we're gonna just meet tonight and then we're done? Don't call me tomorrow because
sometimes it's one night stands. Sorry, got a nut stuck in my throat. So but what I want to mention is that, oh my goodness.
Yeah, have some water. This is a hot topic.
Is that this desire for young men, especially myself, to have sexual encounters and do stuff like that, is now all of a sudden you're like, how do I do that? And then obviously you go and search for ways how to do that. And the most successful and most obvious way is the art of seduction and this pickup. So now you learn how to follow the steps, and you need to become better. So you need to practice a lot. You need to practice going out, meeting people, picking up girls, blah, 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 blah. And that turns into almost like a mechanism that in the end is really more constructed in order for me to satisfy my own needs. Versus the old model of, as you said, sustainable relationships and so on.
Well, even to satisfy my needs, I think this is not sustainable, because then you're always dependent on the next hot girl that you have to go to bars, you have to drink, you have to get dressed. You know, there is so many variants outside of yourself in order for you to fulfill your needs.
Exactly.
So my question is, do we, in this group, clearly they don't speak about self-pleasuring. What about the conversation that boys learn, young men, to take responsibility of their eros and really engage in the practice of self-pleasuring? Is that mentioned?
Yeah, no, that's quite a taboo in society, is the whole act of self-pleasure. It's for some strange reason, I would say, looked down upon because of the whole, once again, vulnerability associated to that, in the whole idea that it's this obscure idea from, you don't have a partner to satisfy you, like, so you're not really worthy. So the whole thing of like, now you've got to satisfy yourself, go satisfy yourself.
Jerking off, poor loser.
Exactly. There's such a negative connotation to that, and which fuels this very unhealthy desire to have my sexual needs met. And because obviously you're going to have that's that energy build-up that almost needs to release as well. So, and then I would say people look to things like...
But for me, this is the essence of this. You know, these men are looking to fulfill their sexual needs, which clearly remain unfulfilled by the fact that they have to up their games. How many girls? How many more? How many more? How many more?
I will be better if I have 3 girls a week, or
but that means
stuff like that.
He's not being fulfilled. It's a paradox. You want to be fulfilled because when you are fulfilled, you need nothing.
Exactly.
You don't need to even move. That's what we say. The absolute reality is complete fulfillment. It's bliss. It's so joyful of the experience of itself that doesn't need anything or anyone. It doesn't need to create any movement. It's sustainable.
Exactly.
And so for me, this is what generates addiction in sex and pornography.
Exactly, yeah.
It's exactly this idea that sex is outside of me, that I need someone else to fulfill myself, and by paradox, I will always stay unfulfilled. Yes. And I need more.
And I need more.
And I need more because I'm unfulfilled and I need more.
Yeah. And then that's a big thing as well. Then you're never in that moment really, because you're always thinking of like, how can I improve? How must I do this?
Yes.
Like my skill needs to improve,
and there's always a movement outside of yourself.
Self-hatred almost. That's almost reinforced by I would say,
self-hatred.
Yeah.
And it's made look so cool because you've got a partner to satisfy. You're cool, when in reality, it's self-hatred. I'm not worthy enough to make love to myself, which is an expression of self-love. So instead of jerking off, instead of masturbating as an expression of loving myself, to the point that I take time off to engage with myself and to get to know myself. I hate myself so much that I'm not spending any time with me, but I'm going to look for someone else to engage sexually with. And it makes it appear that I'm so good that I can fulfill them, but I stay constantly unsatisfied. There's also the question that we can fulfill them. That's also an illusion. do we really?
Yeah.
One night stand, there's very little fulfillment, sexual fulfillment with something is so quick because it lacks intimacy.
Yeah.
And so again, sex is outside of me, and it's self-hatred. I constantly move outside of me.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing that's almost created this rift of that any almost interaction is either sexual or not. You know?
Yeah.
And that
it cannot be fun, intimately fun.
Yeah, like for example, I've experienced it with friends. If we, for example, we go out and whatnot, and the moment you see a bunch of girls or something like that, it's, ooh, that one's pretty, ooh, that one's nice, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, which one do you want to pick up, blah, 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 all that kind of things. And then it's now when I'm alone and, for example, it comes up within me, that whole question of all of a sudden now you have to kind of decide what the purpose of an interaction is. You know, do you want it to go somewhere? Do you want it to not go? Just be an interaction, and that is very frustrating because there isn't freedom in just
in
really
sexual freedom,
engaging in an emotion in a moment, you know, because you're so set on directing a moment. Like I need to be a strong individual, an active, able individual that can direct moments and bring me what I want, you know. And
what I'm saying also in this, that it get perceived like sexual freedom. I'm so cool and so free, I can fuck how many I want. It's not true freedom, because you can only but fuck. You don't know how to sit with another human being, be seduced by them, also be feeling the longing, feeling like we said before, maybe I want to bite your neck, but I'm not going to yet. And I'm going to feel all the feeling that evokes in me. You know, the butterfly in the stomach, the anticipation, and that's expansion. You know, and if I go with the movement, I'm overriding all the subtlety, the nuances of being human. You know, the emotional spectrum that sometimes with action we avoid. We often say that fucking is the least intimate activity. You know, you make love to someone very quick so you can avoid intimacy.
Exactly.
And we call it an intimate encounter, but actually
it's not
the most unintimate.
Yeah.
Because it takes much more courage and energy and the ability to sit with your own feeling, to sit like we are in front of another human being, feel all your feeling, and instead when two people have sex, we close to each other, we don't have to look at each other, we don't have to have conversation. Close the eyes, close the light, you know, we come together, I look one way, you look the other, I look behind your back, you look behind my back. We call that intimacy, you know. So I want to ask you now, we started this conversation speaking about the art of pickup. So we use this word art. So how do we turn this movement of seduction into an art? What do you say?
So my interpretation of it is that in our lives we have so much suffering and hardship, and everyone really just looks for fun and relief of it. Sometimes you can see people watch movies, and everyone has different forms. And a lot of it has to do with sexuality as well. People turn to sex for entertainment, and almost any addiction is just relief of this hard lives that we actually have and the suffering it has. So everyone's just kind of looking for a bit of fun. So everyone's looking a bit to be seduced out of their normal lives, to be made forgotten of the hardships. And now the art of seduction and pickup isn't really, which could be seen as a very selfish form of me satisfying my needs, but can be turned around and saying, like, we all want that bit of fun, we all want that excitement that we don't experience on a daily basis. Like, we want to be seduced by movies. We watch films that we've never watched. We fall in love with actors and actresses and music, and that can be seen through that way. And so the art of pickup becomes an art really of knowing how to unravel this resistance that is keeping you back from really having fun and forgetting yourself for a bit. And because forgetting yourself sometimes is it can be argued as nowadays, which is sad, like some people's best moments, like, you know, you're taken up by this adventure, or you're doing a sport and you completely forget about yourself and you're just really into this moment. So there's a bit of a split between this you that's always living in the future and the past and worrying about this and that, and really bringing someone to this current moment. And then the art of seduction is really bringing someone to this moment right here, right now, really have them engage with you, really evoke arousal and attraction, and really evoke all kinds of interesting very embodied emotions, invoke reactions, and that is really what I feel like makes it an art, because to do that you need to really understand the human mind and how.
But it would mean that then we don't get to the fucking. We stay with the enticing of the seduction.
That's the big thing as well. Like
in this context that you brought on, how this guy pick up girls, you know, what you're saying is really, really beautiful. And I see you describing the teaching of Tantra, actually. We teach through seduction. Because when someone is seduced, like you say, you're in the moment, and therefore you're meditating. There's no future, there's no past, you're free. When you're in the present moment, you're free. So seduction, to be seduced. To seduce, it's got an agenda. To be seduced, it's what makes you really present.
Yeah.
So how can this pick up things? What would you tell the guys that are so focused on, you know, getting results from the action?
Yeah, like,
that's what it seems from me when you're saying,
which is very sad at the same time, because you're always gonna, like you say, to seduce is an agenda. You always want something, but you as well only really want to be seduced as well.
Yeah.
And that picking up more girls, getting better at game, learning how to make a girl aroused quicker, or doing all that is the skill that people are always going to chase, because they really, that longing to be seduced is always going to pull people to get better at the game, but it's never going to have them seduced. It's always just going to make them better to be,
because they're in control. And to be seduced, you have to let go of control.
And which is the sad part, is because the better you get at seducing, the harder it is for you to let go.
Yeah.
And really allow yourself into the uncertainty of because that's the thing as well with game. You always want to know this reaction. When she says something like this, you need to respond with this, and then something called shit tests and all kinds of weird things that you need to know how to counter with this type. It's very,
have the ready answer for everything.
It's like you say, it's that control you need to, which will never, as we said earlier, will never lead to fulfillment. And perhaps for any guys experiencing this, is to really, like we talked earlier about, when looking at someone and you experiencing these emotions, to really let it absorb you and dance within you, and kind of figure out where it leads to, you know, or where it comes from. And you'll probably realize it's just that longing to be loved and accepted and be seduced, and that you have no control over.
Yeah. So my suggestion, maybe in the art of picking up, is to allow just for the seduction to happen, and so take away. Of course, many men won't agree with me, because they do the pick up to get to the sex to be fulfilled. But what you say now, I think everybody wants to be found. We want to be seduced. And so maybe we can be found avoiding the obvious sex movement that will take us into such more vulnerable spaces. So maybe pick up a girl and take her to the waterfall. And take your clothes off and just sit and have conversation.
But at the same time, in the same breath, it can be said that which is very sad in nowadays society that I've experienced, and I've seen friends that if you don't pursue connection, that connection don't really come. That's a very sad mindset that is very easy to get stuck into. Almost that if I can't expect anyone to come and entertain me and seduce me, and I just have to sit here and let it all happen to me, which is a very victim kind of mindset, which is quite hard to get out of, because now you feel like, I don't know how to get this connection. I need to actually go out there and make the connection, learn how to seduce, become good at picking up, and all kinds of other things, where it just comes back to really making peace with yourself, but still engaging.
Yes.
Still engaging.
But then you engage out of, you connect with yourself first.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're connected with yourself, you go out there and you connect with everybody.
Exactly.
It's like that.
And it's not this girl's gonna like me and we're probably gonna have sex, or that's what I want and blah blah blah. It's, or you don't, it's almost like this weight that lifted off of you.
Yeah, because you're not dependent. Your connection with yourself is fulfilled, is not dependent on another outside of you. Exactly. And by paradox, I bet all the girls will want to hang out with you, because we can see when a guy is looking for something from me to fulfill the gap inside himself. And I don't want to be that one that fill up your empty spaces, you know. I want to connect with the person that is full. And when that guy comes that is so connected with himself,
we can dance.
Yeah, then I don't feel that I need to, he's not going to use me for anything, because it's full. Then I'm attracted to his fullness.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And which is why the art of picking up is almost an invitation to that process of really becoming one with yourself. So a very cheesy way to put it. Because as you progress in this game, it's more and more about, you need to be, like you said, confident and appear full. And the more and more you do that, obviously there are two routes. One way you completely get isolated from yourself, but the other possibility is that you become aware of where you really are in yourself, and that confidence that just kind of reflects that fullness that you've had to make with yourself.
Then you using the beautiful girls is like the cosmic carrot to become more of yourself, and she's just the seductress. Then you allowed her to seduce you while you pretending to seduce her. So, because of her, you go to the gym. It's an excuse. In reality, you building your self-confidence, you building your connection with your body, you eating healthy is an excuse. That's why in Tantrism, sometimes you have this erotic connection with the divine, because it's easier to do things for someone outside of ourselves. So imagine God as our beloved. And so there are things we do for others that we wouldn't do for ourselves. So we are conscious that we use them just an excuse, but the important thing is that I do the work. I wake up early in the morning, I'm motivated, I'm going to dress well, I'm going to eat well, I'm going to gym. But ultimately, as you say, this can lead to a fulfillment of my persona. Being with myself becomes fun. I enjoy the gym, I'm enjoying my body, and then there is the girls that you're going to seduce is just an excuse. You're actually been seducing yourself.
Exactly. In
this game. Oh, that's a good way to turn it around.
So, because I think it has to do a lot with self-image as well, that you will probably battle through this process, and that's the whole kind of.
The bottom line is that if you look at yourself in the mirror and you are revolted by what you're looking at, everybody else would be the same. The girls in the bar would also be revolted. So what are you going to do about it? And if you can't have a conversation with yourself, no one else would want to have a conversation with you. So what you going to do about it? Read more books, engage.
Exactly.
So it's like using the girls outside as an excuse, that obviously, that you have to start loving this one. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and really like this one you see.
Yeah, well, I would say that's where the hard part comes in, is because you can have a very almost neglecting like mindset to the process. Like, I'm not good enough, I need to become good enough. In other words, you'll always chase, always gym more, always read more, always do things more, because you need to love yourself, and everyone's telling you must love yourself, but I'm not loving myself because look, I can have a bit more muscle there, I can be a bit more smarter in this area. Girls, I don't have that much girls, like I don't have cool conversations yet, like etc etc, and it becomes this very self-hatred again, like like subtle deception, and then which people say that pickup is bad because of that, because of the illusion. But then I think that if you become aware that, as you said, it's really just an excuse to really get to know yourself better.
You're picking up yourself.
Yeah.
Then it's beautiful. Then you play with life.
Exactly.
Then you play with life. There is an attraction. Women are gorgeous. You have an attraction. How do you use that also to engage with yourself in a meaningful way? We also say in Tantrism, it's always God looking for God.
Yeah.
It's always me looking for myself. I can fall in love with you because you reflect more of me to myself. I am always looking for myself. And if I'm thinking it's me, Valentina, with my little ego, I'll always in for suffering. But if I know that the I is God moving through me, looking for itself, then I can use you in our love affair to remind me that I'm divine. And in this way, I remind you of your divinity. And you will find yourself. So it's always God looking for itself, me looking for my true self. So the art of seduction, everywhere that we put the art is the entry point for God. The Tantrika is an artist. So that's why I'm challenging you here when we say, how can you make this an art? Because when you make it an art, you find yourself, then you become a Tantrika. Then you really use life to fulfill yourself and to play with it. Then you can engage.
Yeah, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, awesome. So we're gonna wrap it up for now, because it's very exciting talking to you, Zander. It's really inspiring. You've got a great, a very open essence, your being. It's really, it knows, I think, more than you realize you know.
We all do.
But I'm gonna wrap up with this last question. Is life a dream, or dream help us to live better?
Oof. Is life a dream, or does the dream help us to live better?
Yeah.
That is a complicated question.
Yeah, you can change your answer next time I interview you. It doesn't have to be the answer. Just right now, how does it feel in your body?
Quote me for what I said yesterday, not today.
Yeah.
So, and is life a dream? I think
it can be both too.
I think that's kind of what life's about, is our dream and how our dreams match life, and it's always both. It's the world is as we see it. I feel like if I live out of a being that is here for the sake of wonderment and experiencing what there is to experience, versus I'm here for suffering, and I'm going to have a very cut time being here. Then everything is.
But I'm gonna survive it.
But I'm gonna survive. I need to conquer everything.
Yes.
So dreaming and is almost what keeps life light to me. Is this dance, and that's the thing. Is if you really want to be super philosophical about it, is that everything we experience is really just interpretations made by our brain of senses that come into us, but our dream is what gives words to that interpretation. So is life a dream? Life is a dream kind of living itself.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. It's a big question, and I keep asking myself. So I invite everybody that is listening, ask yourself too, and keep asking. It can change. It's life a dream, or dream help us to live better?
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Zander, for
Thank
being
you.
so patient with me.
It was very cool.
Yeah,
It
and
was very lovely.
I really hope we'll have so many more of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you. Ciao,
Thank
everybody.
you. Ciao.
Keep dreaming, keep living, keep loving. Ciao.